again. Good day. Good to be with you. Bill Pfeiffer speaking. I've kind of, as things move on, I've been rethinking some of the things we're doing, and each day I'd like to be able to give you something that you can think about so that it touches your head, your intellect, your ability to think, and then also to always end with a nice story that's something good for your heart. So we take care of kind of the both ends of your ability to think and reflect, and your ability to feel your heart so that you can get transformed. Yesterday, I was informed that the president, Mr. Biden, has just given total permission to pass abortion kits right through the mail. And it boggles my head. We have so few allies in our lives these days. All of our institutions have left us down. We feel alone, a sense of uncertainty and unsureness about ourselves. We're kind of disillusioned. We just have no allies. And so I have to be saying a few things that might help you to feel that maybe I'm some kind of an ally in your corner. First, the ultrasound requirement was dropped for abortions. The doctor's appointment got dropped, and now the doctor isn't even needed. Just a video or a phone call, and the medical professional, whoever that might be at the other end, gives you a prescription that you can go and get yourself an abortion kit and perform the abortion at home at your leisure. For a mere $235, you get yourself the kit, you get yourself a package of tea bags, and it includes also a bag of peppermints. And you just say, where have we come to? How have things gotten to this particular point? The slippery slope always works. That always works. It goes down. It takes time, but it always works. And it's worked with abortion. It's worked with premarital sex. It's worked with lying in the media. It's worked with the bishops lying about the sex scandal, violence as a solution, censorship in the social media. It's worked with drugs. It's worked with welfare, child care, campus life, where we have diversity in all things but ideas. It's like drinking a slow working poison in the middle of the night. You get up and you find out you're dead. And so we have to talk about those kinds of things so we don't continue to allow them to totally influence our lives. C.S. Lewis said some really nice things about maybe being able to stop this kind of thing with these beautiful words of wisdom. He said, if you read history, you will find that the Christians who did the most for the present world were those who thought most of the next world. It is since Christians have largely ceased to think of the other world, they've ceased thinking about a lot of things, the other world certainly, that they have become ineffective in this world. Aim at heaven, and you get the earth thrown in. Aim at earth, and you get neither. C.S. Lewis, some real wisdom there. Nice story for today. You're going to like this. When I arrived at 5:30 a.m. and the building was dark except for a single light in the ground floor window. Under these circumstances, many drivers would just honk once or twice, wait a minute, and then drive away. But I had seen too many impoverished people who depended on taxis as their only means of transportation. Unless a situation smelled of danger, I always went to the door. This passenger might be someone who needs my assurance. I reasoned to myself, so I walked to the door and knocked. Just a minute, came a frail, elderly voice. I could hear something being dragged across the floor. After a long pause, the door opened. A small woman in her 80s stood before me. She was wearing a print dress and a pillbox hat with a veil pinned on it, like someone out of a 1940s movie. By her side was a small nylon suitcase. The apartment looked as if no one had lived in it for years. All the furniture was covered with sheets. There were no clocks on the walls, no knickknacks or utensils on the counters. In the corner was a half-opened cardboard box filled with photos and glassware. "Would you carry my bag out to the car?" she asked. I took the suitcase to the cab, and she said to me, "Oh, thank you so very, very much for your kindness. It's nothing," I told her. "I just try to treat my passengers the way I would want my mother treated." "Oh, you're such a good boy," she said. When we got to the cab, she gave me an address and then asked, "Could you drive through downtown?" "It's not the shortest way," I answered quickly. "Oh, I don't mind," she said. "I'm in no hurry. I'm on my way to a hospice." I looked in the rearview mirror. Her eyes were glistening. "I don't have any family left," she continued. "The doctor says I don't have very long." I quietly reached over and shut off the meter. "What route would you like me to take?" I asked. For the next hour and a half, we drove through the city. She showed me the building where she had once worked as an elevator operator. We drove through the neighborhood where she and her husband had lived when they were newlyweds. She had me pull up in front of a furniture warehouse that had once been a ballroom where she had gone dancing as a girl. Sometimes she'd ask me to slow in front of a particular building or corner, and I would sit staring into the darkness, saying nothing. As the first hint of the sun was creasing the horizon, she suddenly said, "I'm tired. Let's go now." We drove in silence to the address she had given me. It was a low, one-story building like a small convalescent home with a driveway that passed under a portico. 2 orderlies came out to the cab as soon as we pulled up. They were solicitous and intent on watching her every move. They must have been expecting her. I opened the trunk and took out her small suitcase and carried it to the door. The woman was already seated in the wheelchair. "How much do I owe you?" she asked, reaching into her purse. "Nothing," I said. "Oh, no, that can't be right. You have to make a living," she answered. "There are other passengers," I responded. Almost without thinking, I bent and gave her a squeeze, a gentle hug, and she held on to me tightly. "You gave an old woman a little moment of joy," she said. "Thank you." I squeezed her hand and then walked into the dim morning light toward my cab. Behind me, a door shut. It was the sound of the turning to the final chapter and the closing of a life. I didn't pick up any more passengers that shift. I drove aimlessly, lost in thought. For the rest of that morning, I could hardly talk. What if that woman had gotten an angry driver or one who was impatient to end his shift? What if I had refused to take the run or had honked only once and then driven away? On a quick review, I don't think that I have ever done anything more important in my life. We are so conditioned to think that our lives revolve around great moments, but great moments often catch us unaware, beautifully wrapped in what others might consider a small moment. Happiness tomorrow always begins by doing the truth today. God bless. Good to be with you.